Hey, this is Scott. Make sure you stick around after the discussion to see video of Erin and me at Hardywood Brewery interviewing people about 2020 and making predictions for 2021. We ask the tough questions about increased drinking in 2020 and COVID-related conspiracies. Plus, Erin chases Santa Claus through a parking lot. Now, on with the show.
Speaksies.
This is the True Podcast.
True Podcast!
About a few acquaintances.
Forced to stay at home and have their feelings recorded.
Find out what happens when people stop going out.
And start getting real.
About toilet paper.
We're your hosts, Scott and Erin.
This is Panic at the Costco.
Well, thank you all for coming back. So let's go around real quick and say who we've got here on the Year in Panic. We've got, of course, Scott and Erin, your hosts. We've got Allie Foley-Shank and Lauren Miller-Knowles from episode 1. We've got April from episode 2 and Garth from episode 3. Oh, and then I think Lauren was also in episode 4. So
yep.
Nobody knows the difference if I got that wrong. But it's been 9 months since our first episode, so we are going to celebrate. I have a little bubbly here. So cheers if you have a drink or ice cream. I think Allie's got some. What kind of ice cream is that, Allie?
Okay, so here's the deal. It's chocolate because that's all I do as far as ice cream goes, generally speaking. But it's lactose free, and it actually tastes really good. So.
What's in it to replace the lactose?
I don't know. It's Breyers. I just didn't look at the label. So Breyers is good for you, right? Something like that.
That's what I've heard along the line. Is that a New Year's resolution? Like, you know what? I'm going lactose free. January.
No.
Lactose make you poop or don't make you poop? I always get it confused. Whatever it is,
yeah.
the one that doesn't make you poop.
It doesn't feel good. Only talk 2 minutes and we're talking about poop. So
that's a record for me. I usually talk about poop in the first 30 seconds. So my New Year's resolution came through. That was one of them, and I knocked it out of the park.
So what you're trying to say is, it's poop again.
Yeah, it's poop again.
I have 3 boys, so I know the drill with poop jokes.
And by the way, it's minute 4, and we've got our first Billy Madison reference. So with that said, we thought we would start with the holidays. So why don't we go around and I guess start with Lauren. How were your holidays? Did you get to do anything or what?
They were pretty much the same as usual, just kind of pared down. So Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. So that was pretty good. We had 11 people, I think. And my sister and her husband were able to fly out from Nevada. So that was really nice to see them since I didn't get to see her for her birthday back in April. So that was really a lot of fun. It was very relaxed. The food is always delicious. And then Christmas.
Well, hold on. I do have a question about that. I believe, wasn't the rule like you can't have more than 10? Did you do 11 just to piss the governor off, or am I wrong about that rule?
I believe the rule may have been 10, but that's just how it
she
worked
went down
out.
the street. She's like, we need one more. Civil disobedience.
We'll bleep out your last name.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Don't worry about it.
It's too late now. Like statute of limitations, isn't that like over now? Like I can't get in trouble for what happened at Thanksgiving.
In COVID years, yes. So tell us about your Christmas.
And then Christmas, we did most of the same things we usually do. I mean, no Christmas parties, which was kind of a bummer. But Christmas Eve, we went to my in-laws' house, but it was just immediate family instead of extended family. And then Christmas Day, we took the kids over to my mom's house for a little bit, and that was really it. So it was nice. It was nice and relaxed, but still was cozy and fun.
Well, good. I'm glad you got to actually celebrate. Who did nothing for Christmas? Did anybody have no parties, or did everybody do, or not parties, but get-togethers? Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Erin and I did almost nothing.
It was just me and my husband, and we did nothing all day. We literally actually ordered from Pho Saigon, which is a Vietnamese place, for dinner. We did nothing. Yeah. And it was great.
Nice? Yeah, I was gonna say, was it nice? Yeah.
It was fantastic. We loved it. Yeah, it was great.
It's funny because we have this big Christmas Eve open house every year. We've been doing that since 2009. And like, you know, we make food. It's like there's a lot of preparation, and there's like could be up to like 60 people in the house at the same time. And so it's just chaotic and crazy and fun. And we play records, and it's just, I love it. But I was kind of looking forward to this year not having to do anything. And I can just, we catered just for our family and like didn't do a damn thing. But I was kind of sad actually, because I really miss people, you know? So as more relaxing as it was, I just was not like digging it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be, but I can see what you're saying. Like the idea of having it just maybe my husband and I without kids, that's attractive. I like
nice.
that. Yeah.
Can you imagine not having to worry about that elf every day?
Oh my God. Yes.
Elf. I can't imagine of it just being.
Oh my God.
Like a night where you like don't have to wake up in a panic at like midnight, like that fucking elf forgot to do it. And I'm like, where are we gonna put him this time? He's gotta be clever. Like it's so stressful, that elf in itself. I'm so glad when that elf has to go, because
I'm with you. I was glad to put it away.
Yeah.
So our kids, I have stepchildren. So my stepchildren go to their mom for a 2-week winter break, you know, like they were in school, they get the 2 weeks off. So we had to do that daggone elf until the 18th. And do you know how much we celebrated not to have to worry about and freak out between the elf and the advent calendar? I was over it. So by the time Christmas came, we were happy just to lay out and do nothing. Yes, it is stressful. It is stressful. I'm with you.
always got to be something clever. You just can't have them on the shelf anymore. Remember when it first came out, you could just, it was fine
Right.
to have like a shelf. And now they sell like it's like the rock and roll elf, the like.
Yeah.
No, oh no.
They had a COVID elf. They had a mask elf.
Yes,
Year.
Kids Lysol. Yeah.
Yeah.
like in a bubble bath made of marshmallows. You have to Google things to do with this elf now. It's just not, the shelf's not good enough, Mom and Dad. You got to step up your game. You got to like have them doing some bizarre stunts now. It's just
Garth is like, I'm the only one that does marshmallow bubble bath around here. Okay. Yeah. Allie, what did you have to deal with the elf situation?
Well, no. So we got one years ago against my better judgment when everybody else was. And I realized really quickly that it was the worst thing about the entire year, of any year. It was just horrible trying to remember every night. And like, if the kids, you didn't do it. And then the kids are like, why didn't the elf move or whatever? Oh, I don't know. You must have just had a late night last night and didn't want to get up, whatever. So I was not sad when that was all done. And I didn't do any cutesy stuff. Like, we'll have none of that. Like, I don't do cutesy things in general. And so it was more just like hiding him and leaving notes, but he had to move. So I wasn't sad when that thing was over. And every once in a while, like, I'd post on Facebook just at night randomly and go, don't forget to move the elf. Like, just all I would post, and all these people would be like, oh shit, I'm sorry, oh God, I forgot again. Thanks for the reminder. I hate that thing.
Yes.
Other than the elf, did you guys have any? Because everyone says, I think, or from what I saw on Facebook and social media, like that this was a kind of a relaxing holiday season and whatnot. But did you have any holiday freakouts, like my shirt, any Jimmy Stewart moments of just anger, frustration, total stress? Garth, I'm going to start with you because I feel like you are Jimmy Stewart.
No, I mean, I've actually, I had a huge psychotic break before Christmas, like a legitimate therapist psychotic break. So I think I had that around November. So once I had the psychotic break and learned to deal with that, I think everything else was just kind of downhill, or I was just too drunk to even really let it affect me. But there's the normal stresses. I mean, the Jimmy Stewart picture that you have is basically me every day of the year. But it was kind of not having to deal with the family. I think it was kind of good. You don't have to worry about cooking the extra food and watching what you say around certain uncles. So I think there was a little less stress about that. But no, just in general, I mean, it was just kind of nice just to kind of unwind, and it kind of wanted me to do it again. Even with Thanksgiving, we didn't really see any family. The only thing that I think that was probably more difficult is you don't really have anybody to talk to. You don't tell different stories to. I mean, I don't know how many times I started telling, of course, my wife always knows. I try to convince her that Lethal Weapon is more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard. She's like, what are you talking? I don't know any of it. I go into it with her, and then she's like, well, I don't really care about that. So I'll go talk to my 8-year-old son like that. And he's like, well, can I watch these movies? I'm like, no, but trust me, they're, don't even care. So I kind of miss the talking to other people. But it was relatively, I mean, after everything that went through in November, it was just kind of downhill and chill. I couldn't really complain.
Scott, were you chill?
Yeah, I was really chill. I am interested to hear more about Garth's psychotic break and kind of the fallout from that, but I'll leave it up to him how much he wants to get into it.
I'm an open book, man. It just
were any children or animal harmed?
No.
Okay,
no.
We'll have 5 children.
Yeah. We used to have 5. Now we have 3, which is probably a little bit more calm now. No, I think it was just the being locked away. And I know last podcast we talked about how I'm kind of like, the ex-army person comes out, then the prepper, and then you read this, and then you look at that, and then you go on social media. So it just was a culmination of everything kind of building up to actually where I had an exit. It's really hard to talk about. I should show you my bag, but I was getting things.
Got a bug out bag.
Yeah, I was getting things online like a straw that you used to drink from dirty puddles, called like a survival straw.
Wow.
All the routes. I got a hard copy of a road atlas where I had all the routes to get out of town through different areas. I had them all highlighted, had them all pinned out.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so I mean, getting ammo and prepping up on food, and I think it finally broke when I actually had a lawyer almost tasked out to find me property in Nova Scotia. So then at that point, my wife was like, "You're crazy. You need to talk to somebody." I'm like, "I'm already talking to someone, like you." And she's like, "No, like not me, someone else."
Not me, yeah.
Nova Scotia.
So we got off social media and just kind of chilling out and just taking it kind of day by day, doing some meditation exercises and working on my self-care and just trying to avoid, getting, crazy, which is exactly what the holidays are all about, right?
Now, did you go through your 10-year supply of water? We talked about last episode. Did you touch it?
As a self-cleansing exercise, I dumped it all out. It's been 10 years, so it was almost like it was almost just like a nice rinse. I would drink it, much less bathe in it, but dumped it all out and kind of reorganized everything to be not so crazy. So I mean it's good.
Well, we should thank you for sharing. I'm glad that you're kind of in a better place. I think probably all of us, I know we're still talking about holidays, but have had a breaking point. So I probably had several. Definitely Christmas was very chill, but I was like Erin, I was bummed out. At first I was like, cool, just a day to myself. I had my kids for Christmas Eve and Christmas morning, and then I took them to their mom's. But the normal Christmas Eve plans I have got canceled, which is understandable. It's like going to my dad's and stepmoms and my other half sisters. But I was actually pretty bummed out. I was like, this is something I look forward to every year, to have this tradition, and I don't have it. So it was a bummer, but I'm just hoping that this is like the one year that we look back and go, man, that was crazy. And I guess we'll get to predictions for 2020 or for 2021 in a bit. But it was chill. I'm okay with it, but I don't want to be like this always. I'm not, like we talked about in one episode, I don't think I am an ambivert. I'm a extrovert. I need to be around people. So
it's tough. Like, and then all of the,
I think, is everybody frozen or just Erin? Oh, okay.
Oh, am I frozen? Oh, well, I was going to say, like, how, thinking about like the kids, and I don't think my kids miss too much. Like, I feel like we got to do a lot of the same stuff that they normally do during Christmas. So I think they were okay. And did your kids kind of feel like they missed out on something? Did you get them extra presents like I did to make up for it? Or how about yours, Allie?
I think
like mine, the Christmas presents we got were very targeted to like things that will help you feel better because we're still in a pandemic. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like stuff that's more like self-soothing stuff that we can do at home, you know, but we do usually more like experiences, like we buy experiences that we can do, and we're just not doing that, obviously. So I think for the most part, my kids felt like it was cool. You know, normally we do go see Santa. I have one Santa believer holdout. And, you know, things like that. Or, I don't know, we do actually go out a little bit around the Christmas season. And so we didn't do any of that. And then the other big piece is like church stuff. Like our church went in person for a little bit and then went back to virtual. So, and I'm a musician, so like I'm involved in pretty much all the Christmas time music, and that's, you know, the kids come for that and the rest, and we didn't have that. So that was kind of the stuff they, you know, they noticed and mentioned, you know, with everything still being, even Christmas services being online, which they were really nice, but, you know, it's different. So that was the stuff they mentioned. But our actual Christmas day was just the 5 of us and then my parents, who have been in our bubble since the beginning, which is kind of like they're here almost every day. So it was kind of the same old, and kids still seem to have a good time. And, you know, I think we all missed some of the stuff. I actually was the one who like, Scott's gone. I actually was the one who like broke down crying during the Christmas Eve online service for church, because we usually do a thing with like all the lights go out and we light a candle and we pass the candles and things like that. And it's just a really nice thing. And then we hold up the candles and sing Silent Night and Joy to the World. And it's like one of my favorite things that we do all year. And so we couldn't do that. So they had people send in clips of them in their houses, like lighting a candle and going like this and then going like this. And then they did it. So it looked like he was passing it around. And just like seeing all the videos of all the people at our church, all of a sudden I just like burst into tears. Like I did not see it coming. And I just was like, I miss everybody. Like, you know, months of stuff came out and the kids were all like, are you okay? You know? So that was that was kind of the thing that got me. But, you know,
well,
I don't know.
We're able to enjoy, like, I mean, like everyone seems to be in the same like boat, and everyone's trying to be super creative with how they're like celebrating their traditions. And like, I give my hats off to April, who most people know she's my neighbor, but she was on our neighborhood social committee and so creative. She saved Christmas. So like, not Ernest, but April saved Christmas in our neighborhood. She brings so many food trucks. Like we always had, you know, food and, you know, the restaurants that would deliver, some breweries, food, everything. And we did like a holiday light tour, and everything was like super safe and socially distant. We had a Santa in a snow globe. So I don't know if you saw Santa in a snow globe, but he looked like the boy in the bubble, like he was in a giant bubble. It was beautiful, but he would just sit there and wave, and, you know, like the kids could go up to him, but, you know, obviously he was protected. And I think he really, like, you just saw this look on his face, like he was really enjoying this. Like
he loved it. He loved it.
Like he didn't have to worry about germy kids or like what to say. 6-year-olds asking for an iPad and a dead relative to come back. He's like, I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. He was so relaxed.
We put a chair in there and like covered it in red. And so he had his chair, he had his water, and he just waved. It was the best thing. He really enjoyed it. It was so funny to see him enjoy that 3 hours of being in that clear tent. Basically, it was what it was, and he loved it. And the kids loved it. I mean, our neighbors loved it, but I think he enjoyed it the most.
Yeah, if I were a Santa, I would demand a snow globe every year. Right. I mean, there's no going.
We had pictures with the Santa where we live, but the Santa's like in this bench, like behind the kids.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
creepy like picture that we have now. So you have all the kids smiling.
Everybody's like,
and then you have this like ominous, like guy behind them, like with a beard, ratty beard, like like molester type. So we're gonna bring that picture out like we do every other year. So yeah, I hope that doesn't happen on the 2021. We need better pictures this year.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
When you said
April,
Santa in the bubble, I was picturing like one of those hamster balls, just put Santa in one of those. He can push himself around.
I was picturing him like
Give him a
rolling
little-
around the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That would be so much
Put some
fun.
bells in there. You hear them coming.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
it's very creative.
That's the kind of innovation that we're looking for out of COVID.
That's it. Yep.
Absolutely.
Santa in a hamster wheel. Yeah.
Gotta get creative.
So April, I want to talk to you too about, because on your last episode, that was back in April's episode, April 1st. So we were still, kind of new into the whole quarantine pandemic, and that we were, and Garth, I think you were like right after that. I don't know. We were churning out the episodes at that point.
Yeah.
But you're a liver specialist. And so on that episode, we talked about like the amount of drinking that's going to be happening in 2020. And so now it's been nearly 9 months. Are you seeing any effects of that, or is it still too early? Are people's livers not quite turned to mush yet? Like what are you noticing?
Right. Not turned to mush. However, we ask, our patients, because now we're still doing telephone, video, virtual visits, and we'll see a handful in the clinic. And so we do ask about alcohol. And I make it a point to ask, of course, now about their alcohol intake, because it's a huge thing. I mean, I think everybody's revved up a little bit. And so where a patient tells me, oh, I used to do a 6-pack a night, it's a 12-pack a night, or, basically a case of beer. And, and just trying to educate and trying to make sure that they, are well aware of, dangerous levels and excessive alcohol use and all of that. So we haven't had any increase or spike in like alcohol toxicity or anything like that, but it's just definitely people have picked it up. And I think in general, people have picked up their alcohol intake because there's not much else to do, but also the stress and anxiety with 2020. I mean, it's been a lot. And so it's just interesting of interviewing people and discussing and kind of being that, kind of that therapist in some way. People really do open up and what they've heard and what they're afraid of and scared of and anxious about. So it's been very interesting. I've become a bit of a counselor and therapist along with trying to handle their medical problems. So it's interesting, but we just try to tell them, go out and get from fresh air, walk, exercise, get out and do things that are safe, but go to the park, and try to do something different than just sitting and watching the news all day, because it's anxiety provoking. I mean, it's been between the election, between, all the racial issues and stuff going on, and then the pandemic as being the underlying thing throughout this whole year. It has been a crazy stressful year. And even for me, and I'm sure everybody else, it's been hard. It's been really, really hard. So I'm just glad the election is over pretty much, and that we can go into 2021 and hopefully be in a better place, because it's been those three things have been really hard in general, and dealing with 2020. Yeah.
I hear you.
An intervention for me, Erin. Are you setting up an intervention? First question, like, hey, we wanted you to come talk on this podcast.
I'm like slowly pushing my
We all
wine.
love you.
I feel the same.
Behind me now. I got all the drink.
Is that Dr. Drew back there?
Cat.
Yeah. Wow. Gosh, you figured us out. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I want to take that. I'm glad we took those maps away, or else I would have thought about having you on for another episode. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, it's I think everyone's drinking, and we talked about this with some of our interviewees that we talked to at the brewery, which you'll hear later in the podcast. But people were saying that. And not to give too much away, but not that necessarily the amount may have increased, but really it's like the days of drinking have increased, right? So like it's not just the Saturday or Sunday thing.
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right, it's all week long.
Yeah, that was really interesting to us.
I like how people Mhm. Yeah, I like how people want to say, "Oh, it hasn't really increased. It's just more days." It's like, well, that's increasing. Like ways to.
And then sometimes they'll justify, well, it's throughout the whole day. And I say, well, I get that, but if you're drinking a 6-pack a day, so well, I started early on and it's throughout the day. I said, but it's still 6 beers, or whatever,
Right.
and they try to justify
Your liver's like,
that.
please.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's like you got to give your liver a
April,
break,
Can I didn't want to try to crack wise earlier because you were dropping some serious knowledge and stuff, and it is a problem, so don't want to make light of it. What I'm curious though about is what's the multiplier that you use when people say I drink 6 a day? Like, do you double that? Is it like 1.5 times what they state? Like, seriously, or do you think people are straight up with you on that?
So
Asking
it's
for
the
a
way
friend.
I approach it. Yeah. So there is a scoring system or calculator that is in my head. It's called the Audit 10 score. So it's 10 questions you ask. But how I approach patients is that, I don't even ask, do you drink or not? I was like, how much are you drinking? Are you doing 12 beers a day? You're doing a couple shots. And I just kind of make it a conversation like I would with anybody else. It's like, what are you doing? And it's just I don't come to from a place of judgment. And I said, it's been a rough year, how much are you doing? And, how much are you drinking? What are you drinking? Some people say, oh, I'm just drinking beer. And I said, well, how many beers are you drinking? And so a lot of them are very straight up, and some of them who downplay it. And as I ask my questions, do you, wake up, feeling remorseful, or I should have done that last night? Or have you had more than 5 drinks in a sitting, and as you get through the questions, the ones who get defensive or kind of downplay, oh, I just do it socially or whatever, you can kind of figure they're probably drinking more than they're leading on. But a lot of times, I make it a safe place. I don't judge, but most of them do tell you the truth. It's like, what, I don't have anything to do. I'm not going into work. I'm sitting there all day. The kids, what, they're pretty honest, but I come from a place that I just kind of throw it out there, and something ridiculous like, oh, you drink a case of beer a day, or you do a fifth a day, a fifth of liquor a day, and they're like, oh, no, I just do 3 shots, and I was like, oh, okay,
No,
and so I get out of it that way.
Yeah, I think that's it's called anchoring. I've heard of that where you kind of shoot at a certain thing. You use it for negotiation techniques also.
Right, exactly.
It's so smart because you think about the intake forms you fill out at the doctor where it's like, how many alcoholic drinks do you have per week? Or, and it says 0. I'm a social drinker, and everyone's like, oh yeah,
yeah.
I'm not a social drinker.
Yeah, who's going to admit that on that intake form?
Right.
So I think your strategy is right on.
Yeah.
I mean, despite what it looks like every time we record a podcast, because I'm always drinking in those, I really have been drinking less throughout the pandemic than I usually do. And I think it's because sometimes it makes my anxiety worse. And also like when you waste a whole day feeling like crap the next day, like you're already in a crappy situation. Why do I want to make myself feel worse? So I've actually I'm only drinking because I have leftover wine from New Year's and I'm starting a diet tomorrow. So I can't let it go to waste.
It starts a diet on the 4th of January, isn't it?
I heard a lot of people are doing that because tomorrow's Monday. I heard a lot of people doing that for.
I stopped vaping on the 1st, so I haven't had nicotine in my system, and I feel like crap. Like
I was gonna say, how you doing? Day 3 is not good.
Awful. I've always been addicted to something. And nicotine is my go-to thing, and it's awful. I'm cringing, and it's more of just the getting out of the house and going to the garage and sitting down. It's that act of just sitting for 2 minutes while your world's crumbling apart inside, and just having that nice hit. Oh, it's so much. Oh God. So I've got these weird, these. I don't know. My therapist said I should get this. They're called monk cigarettes. Have you heard? They're not even cigarettes. Have you heard them? They're called monks.
What are they?
Are they like cloves?
No, it's like I had one with me. It's something you hit, but you're not supposed to inhale it. It's basically a diffuser, so it's got like frankincense and like vanilla, and so it's like hitting. It's like taking. It's almost going like to the Yankee candle shop. Like that's where your dealer is. You go to the candle shop. Hey man, what do you got? Can I get some of that? can I get some of that myrrh and frankincense?
Yeah.
Can I get some of that Fraser fur?
Baby Jesus, like this. It's gotta be good stuff.
You hit it, but you're not supposed to inhale it. So you're just like,
Yeah.
It's just the weirdest damn thing, but
it's something though, right? It's something.
Yeah. So I'm a little fidgety.
Well,
do you think you could get addicted to like running or something?
That's what I was gonna say. Why can't I get addicted to something good like
I hate when people say that. Like, just treat one addiction for another. Just it's the same thing. Just go out for a walk. It's like, no, it's not the same.
Not the same.
You need something in your hands. How about a fidget spinner? I'm kidding. No, I mean, yeah, I don't even like that. It's got to be so difficult going from one thing to the next. It's like, what next? You know, like, I don't know, Garth, like, I feel like I've known you were a smoker before, right? So then you went to vaping after that. So then, I mean, like, you need something to put in your mouth.
Yeah, I'd see that's when I'm biting my nails. Like it's just no smart comments there, Scott.
I'm not. I'm being good, mature. I was actually thinking, have you tried like pencils or pens? They're really fun to chew. You chew the caps. I mean, it's really gross.
I've been biting the dog's tail.
There you go.
Helps a little bit.
Hey, I don't hear any other suggestions coming from you guys except for running, which is like the worst.
Yeah, running. It's so fun. You just get.
Well, let me throw
endorphins and the high. I've never gotten over.
I mean, I know it's a real thing that happens. I'm just like, why can't I be that? I'm addicted to maintaining my abs or something, but I've never had that. So I have a question then for the group, because this reminds me of something. So I went back and listened to the first episode, and we were so naive. It was like 3 days in, and I'm like, so what are you guys doing? Like, you doing puzzles? Like, how are you passing the time? I mean, it was like ridiculous. But one of the things we did talk about was, back in March when the first episode aired, was we should try to pick up good habits like exercising, reading more. I don't remember if it was Lauren, I think was talking about reading more. So my question is, did anyone actually pick up a good habit? Since we're talking about alcoholism and nicotine and stuff, did anybody pick up a good habit from the quarantine?
I did. I started, it was kind of like a rehabit, I guess, of activity. So my grandmother did a lot of cross-stitching, embroidery, crocheting. The blanket that's with me is a blanket my grandma made.
I like it.
But anyway, so I hadn't done any of that stuff in 20-something years. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to cross stitch. So I'm that old lady now who is doing cross stitching and embroidery. And I've made some stuff and I've kept it and I've given some away and gifted some whatever. So that's actually been a nice meditative thing. Garth, I'm with you. I've gone from food to alcohol, nicotine. I just get addicted from one thing to the next. Mm-hmm. I quit them all, but then we move on. Actually, I've been biting my nails for a solid 30-something years, so I'm on a good streak with that one. So anyway, I need something to do with my hands. I just still do. I can't sit still. So anyway, and I have bipolar, so my brain is never stopping anyway. But so cross stitch, embroidery, that sort of thing, something to do with my hands. But it's funny because it's like anything, like all of a sudden I find myself forsaking sleep, food, whatever, because I'm sitting there, it's like 2 a.m. and I'm like, I finish the feather on the bird. Like, it's pathetic. But anyway, all that to say, I think it's a good habit because generally speaking, I've been still handling life's responsibilities. I still take care of the children for the most part, everyone's fed, alive. So I think we're good.
Put out a bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was good or not. I guess it was.
No, that is good. That's amazing. What about anybody else?
I'm also a cross stitcher, so I have been doing that more. And actually, a couple years ago, there was this one pattern I found, and it says "wash your hands," and then it has like a microscope view of like a microbe, and it was for like E. coli, salmonella, and the Black Plague. And the person that made that pattern updated it with the coronavirus. So now you can replace one of those with the coronavirus. So I made a few of those for some of my friends in the medical field.
Okay, you need to send these. You need to send me that pattern because my main job is I'm a science and medical editor, and I did 10 years of straight up microbiology. So I would totally geek out about that. I feel like
I will send it over.
I think you guys should start a podcast, kind of like Anna Gasteyer, Molly Shannon from SNL when they did that,
Ooh,
that
balls.
bit where they have the sweaty balls where they talk
Oh, the delicious dish.
about pitching. I feel like
Welcome back.
yes.
Well, first of all, one of you guys needs to cross stitch something like a bone or something that Garth can just chew on. That way, you've taken care of two birds with one stone. You get the oral fixation taken care of. And...
The canvas has got a little bit of got a little bit of chew on it.
That's pretty cool.
Did anyone do anything that was like a big quarantine cliche? Like, I got the chickens, I got a dog. Garth, I think you may have been the biggest quarantine cliche. You got a ton of stuff. What'd you do?
I got the dog, which black golden doodle.
Yeah, the golden doodles.
Right, best dog, right?
That's one. I know you have at least two more.
I got a one wheel. Did we talk about that last time? It's a skateboard with a giant wheel in the center of it. You should.
I was seeing those. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I've been going on all kinds of trails. I think I got like 250 miles on it now of just going on this electric scooter. I look ridiculous. I look like I'm almost 50 and I look like trying to be Marty McFly Back to the Future, calling everybody.
Yes.
I did that. The prepping, which I'm not doing anymore. And I went through a major minimalism thing. So I got rid of everything. I own 3 outfits. I'm not joking. I like 3 outfits, and I don't really buy anything excessively anymore, which has been nice. And it just made sense to me at the time to get rid of a lot of stuff. So I'm just kind of trying to be clean and clear now. What were the other 2? The one
you're getting a pool, right?
Oh yeah, I'm getting a pool. Yeah, that's
Wow.
It's
fun.
Yeah,
that's a big one. Dog pool.
Yeah, it's really fun to look at. Look out the door, and you just see a concrete hole with a bunch of stagnant green water in it that the dogs continue to lick from and get infections. So summer to come, and that thing to be filled up with good water that they still can't drink. But yeah, the pool. I think that's the only 2, right?
Did you ever get did you get a house? Did you get another house?
Oh, no, that was part of my.
But you talked about it, so I think a lot of people talked about getting away, needing another house. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Really a fallout bunker.
A fallout bunker.
Fallout bunker. She nixed that idea of the other house. So yeah, 2 or 3 ain't bad. I think I'm doing all right.
All right. I for some reason I thought you had more. I maybe it wasn't just your Instagram feed I was on. It's like, God dang.
What else are you looking for? A dog, a pool, a house?
I know. It sounds good.
I just started drinking more.
I picked up Animal Crossing about the beginning of May and played that for a solid 400 hours. So shout out to Animal Crossing for saving my sanity for several months there.
That's a weird game, right? I've tried to play that one, and I don't know if I understand it completely. You just kind of my kids play it, and I'm trying to get them invested in it, but I just haven't been able to grab that whole concept of it. I know it's popular, and it is relaxing when I play. But yeah, what do you do really, Lauren? You just kind of walk around. Chores.
It's virtual chores.
Oh, that's cool. Do you get paid for it? Or yelled at if you do it?
You don't get yelled at if you don't do it, but you can sell the things that you fish or catch or pick up off the ground for bells to then buy things for your house.
Ooh.
So there's that.
Did anybody do house makeovers? Because I hate every room in my house now, so I had to rearrange things.
That's where I spend a lot of my time too. Yeah. And my dining room is now a sitting room.
Say that again.
Oh, nice.
No, I was just saying our dining room so we have a formal dining room, and of course a lot of homes have that. I found that we only set actually ate from that table for Thanksgiving one time out of the year.
Right.
So my thing was like, well, let's make something more functional. So I completely got rid of the dining room and turned it into more of a sitting room, another space for the kids as they do virtual learning. And so I did kind of gradually end up spending more money than I wanted to, but just gradually redid a couple of rooms downstairs just to make it more functional. And Erin, I know you did too, with the kids being in school and, you trying to work from home and stuff and just trying to, make it more functional and usable. I hate, not, just kind of wasting space. So yeah.
Yeah, I was basically like, I'm sorry, kids, you don't get a playroom anymore. Mommy needs an office, and you need a classroom. And I mean, we did get there. We just shoved things upstairs and had to rearrange. But like, yeah, I mean, you sit there and you're like, gosh, you find all the things that you don't, or I did. I just started finding things I didn't like about the house or the space, and then just, all of a sudden I had like 40 throw pillows that definitely shouldn't have bought.
Yeah.
Just things that, because you're bored, you're looking for anything to do. And the first thing I do is just start like throwing the house upside down. So.
And you just spend more time looking at stuff. Like you're just looking at the rooms and the walls, and it's like, okay, I need to do this and change that. And okay. And then you end up ordering all this crap to replace the crap that you have. It was just, it was a process this year just to keep everybody busy. It kept me busy. So, yeah.
Well, I think too, you notice stuff because you're there all day, right? And
exactly.
you like notice why is that thing clicking? What do I need to replace there? What's that noise? What's,
Yep,
and then like me, my air conditioning went out on one of those 105 days and I had to replace that. I replaced my roof, redid both my kids' rooms. So it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Lauren?
We moved into a new house in February last year, right before all of this started. So, and we moved into a bigger house, so we had some more space. So, there was some furniture pieces we needed to buy, or, some rooms we wanted to paint. And it turns out I'm really bad at decorating and making decorating decisions. So like nothing has actually gotten done, but like I've spent a lot of time like thinking about it and looking at things on the internet. So that's when I've kind of decided I think I actually need to like hire an interior decorator to come over for a couple hours and just like point things out and tell me what to do. And then I'll execute, because I'm not good at it, but there's definitely a lot that needs to be done. Like the whole house was painted gray before they put it on the market. So like every single room in the house is gray. And like, I need color. I need warmth. I need color.
Yeah.
I was thinking, and this has nothing to do with this. This is just a tangent, but Garth, do you remember the year? This is kind of like, this reminds me of like Christmas Vacation, where the boss skipped their bonus and gave them some Jelly of the Month Club. Do you remember the year that we got a paint can for Christmas?
No.
Were you there?
No.
Were you there? Maybe you left then. We got a can of paint.
What was the point of that?
The dye.
I think it was like
creative types.
2009. Oh, so we each had a color that our boss thought represented us perfectly. So he went through. We didn't have the money, I guess, to give bonuses that year. It was maybe 2009, like recession time. And so we were presented with a small, almost like, I think it was a quart. I don't think it was a full gallon of paint.
Jeez, can even a gallon?
No, not even a gallon. With our, with like a color that represented us. Which
I mean,
they could have just given you like the paint chip.
Yeah.
Like, right. This is that would have been free.
Like, here you
this
go.
is the color that makes me think of you.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say he was right on. I mean, our boss was really smart. And he was very intuitive, and it was right on, but it was also a freaking can of paint.
Well, it feels like a flex.
$100.
Yeah, it feels like a flex for your boss, kind of like, hey, this is your color. I know who you know. But on the other hand, I hope that didn't replace like a bonus that you were expecting, like Clark Griswold.
Oh, no, it totally did. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's horrible. That's the worst.
That was it. We got a can of paint. And I was just wondering if Garth remembered that, because it came to my mind the other day.
I must have missed out on that, Jim. So what?
Yeah, sorry about that.
You end up getting?
What color?
Yeah.
This is going to be a surprise to absolutely no one, but I got a very bright yellow that it was called that 70s color. So, like, that it was perfect. He was right on. But yeah, I was like,
did you use it?
No,
Yeah,
I never used it.
I bet nobody used their paint.
Yeah, I bet you in the trash can where all the colors mixed together, like just dumped at the dumpster at the end of the road.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. I guess, times are tough, but shit, like, if you're a boss, if you have no money? I mean, obviously, maybe you shouldn't be a boss, but if you have no money, like, what are you going to get your
coupons for back rubs?
Yeah. Would you rather just say, hey, I'm sorry, guys, no bonus this year? Or would you, like, put an extra thorn in your side by an insult by
I'd rather the company just be straight up and say, hey, we're trying to save some jobs and we're going to be really tight this year. Because the thing is, like I think Lauren said, the paint chips would still get the message across and it would be free.
Right.
It wouldn't be, he actually had to spend money on the paint, because paint's not cheap. Well, I have a question, because actually Garth mentioned earlier when he was talking about everything that kind of his roller coaster, and we've all had them, that he got off social media. So one of the things I wanted to bring up, I was curious about with the group, is have you stopped either watching the news? Have you gotten off of social media? Have you done anything because you just needed a mental break? I know I'll say I got off Facebook before the election and I haven't missed it. Still on Instagram, but I don't go seek out the news at all. Like, I have no idea what's going on, and I feel kind of okay with that. What about you guys?
Yeah, same here. Like, for me in the news, I only allow myself 15 minutes in the morning. And so if you look at the Today or I look at Good Morning America, the first 10, 15 minutes, it gives you sort of like the big topics, and that's it for the day. I won't look at it any more throughout the day. I think the first 15 minutes of the day, kind of hits the high points, highlights or whatever, and that's it. And so, and same with social media, especially during election time, I had to get off, because, people can have their view, and I'm very open, and you absolutely have freedom of speech. I totally believe in that. But people became very aggressive, and it was just a hard time from October, maybe end of September to election. I say it couldn't get here fast enough. So I was happy to get off social media. I had to get on for the food trucks and things I do for our neighborhood, but I wouldn't spend time on it. And I think I agree with you. It's the best thing, just to kind of turn the channel, not to have the negative energy into your space, because we already have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress going on with the pandemic, and that just added to it. And yeah, I definitely had to do that. I definitely had to just put it down for a while.
Do you miss information, Scott, like on your Facebook? Obviously, I don't know, kids' school activities or I don't know, neighborhood stuff.
Yeah, a little bit. There's. Wait, what was the last thing you said?
Yeah, are you missing important information?
Probably. Like, there's definitely Facebook groups, like for my kids' school and stuff, that so my kid's mom will be like, "Hey, what are we gonna do about that thing next Tuesday?" And I'll be like, "I'm sorry," and I'm like, "Look, I don't think that I should have to be on Facebook like to know this stuff." So most of it comes through email. I just have to wade through all the email to find stuff from my kids' school. So that's a long way of saying, like, I know I'm missing stuff, but look, on one hand, I'm definitely probably missing, like, I've taken my daughter to dance class and found out it's canceled because I wasn't on Facebook. But I also don't have to hear the opinions of, like, somebody I haven't seen since second grade on the election, which I'll take that trade-off any day of the week. I mean, because everybody should have their opinions. It's wonderful. But I don't need to be constantly. And the other thing, we were talking about kind of being addicted to stuff. I am addicted to my phone. I mean, there's no way around it. So the more stuff I can sort of take off the phone, so I'll still like phantom scroll, like, oh no, Facebook's not there, but I think the trade-off is worth it for me. So I'll actually spend time like doing a little reading. We were talking about picking things up again. I'm like, oh yeah, I like to read since I don't have all these different things to go on my phone or to go to on my phone.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I deleted Instagram from my phone a couple days ago because
Mhm.
I deleted Facebook years ago. But Instagram, I did find myself mindlessly scrolling through quite a bit. And I was like, why am I passively consuming all of this information? Like, what am I putting into my brain here? Like, do I need to be doing this? So I delete it from my phone, but I'll still check it on my iPad. But at least it's one step further. I have to go to stop myself. And I don't really miss it that much. I think I might.
Instagram is tough. I mean,
Yeah.
for
I like
me,
Instagram.
Facebook was, yeah, I like Instagram too. And it's like one thing that I guess we should talk about too is how memes really did kind of help this year. I mean,
Yeah.
Memes
I
were
get to a moment where I'm like, okay, I don't want to see another meme. None of these are funny. I'm over it. But
like
there
mine,
was one meme that really I felt just nailed it. I don't know if you guys saw the "It's a Wonderful Life" meme that our very own Erin created, which was really good, but it didn't get millions of likes. How are you doing, Erin? Because you were thinking a meme empire was about to be built on this meme, which was really good.
Yeah, I totally. My focus group of 4 people, including Scott, told me, quote, like, this is really freaking good. Like, you should share this. So I was like, yeah, it is really good. I thought this thing was going to take off. And I was going to be, I'm like, you know what? I even told this art director that I work with all the time, like, I think you just need to credit me on like the very small little sliver of the bottom and just put my Instagram handle on there. Just, in case people like, go crazy with sharing it, it'll always be there. So I'm thinking like, yeah, I got this, I'm going to have like the holiday meme. This is going to be like the holiday meme. It was Jimmy Stewart in all of his, and actually it was one other character in there too, of all of his faces. You've seen like the calendar meme of 2020, like January, we were like this, February.
Yeah.
So I did that with Jimmy Stewart and It's a Wonderful Life. And I thought it was fucking hilarious. And nobody else did except for Scott, 2 other people, and Turner Classic Movies Instagram.
Oh, cool.
Great.
Nice.
I hit with like the 70, 80-year-old market. But
Everybody's got to laugh.
But no one could share it because I realized my profile was on private, no sharing. Well, my profile wasn't private. I wasn't on share. I don't know. It was some.
It wasn't no, because I tried to share it and it wouldn't share, but I knew you weren't private, so I did some research, and there is a setting about can people share my post, and I'm like, I bet Turner Classic Movies might have tried to share it, but they couldn't, and they weren't going to go. They weren't going to go through the trouble of screenshotting. Let's be honest.
They weren't. I'm gonna believe that. I'm gonna wholeheartedly believe that the meme was about to be shared by thousands and thousands had I not messed up with that setting. But next year I'm going to try it again next year. It's not going to work.
I like the one meme a year work ethic is
one meme.
I like it. Yeah. So what about anybody else make any changes? So we've talked about good new habits. We talked about some bad habits. We talked about cutting off, news or social media. Anything else that we missed?
Well, I went back and watched the first episode too, a couple days ago in preparation for this. And I look at my face and I'm just like, oh, you poor soul.
I know, me too. You have no idea. Well,
like,
okay.
You think it's going to be over in 3 months. You have no clue. You're still going to be home a year later. You have no idea that you're going to not get out of bed for like 2 weeks at one point because you just can't take it anymore. Like,
right.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, you had no.
You were actually kind of a realist. Well, I was like, has anyone taken? I mean, again, we're like 3 days into the quarantine. I'm like, has anyone taken up a new hobby? Are you and you're like, I'm gonna save that for like at least a little bit down the road. You at least knew there was gonna be a road. So, all right, let me throw this out to the group. So, Lauren, you specifically in the first episode back in March mentioned how you felt like humanity was being a little bit more compassionate. and we were
Yeah,
hoping
it's
that would
fun.
continue. And I'm curious what everybody's thoughts are at this point. Like, it's been 9 months. Was it ever really there? I mean, but what do you guys think?
For a
Have
brief,
there
sparkling
been
moment.
any sort of cool connections from a human standpoint through all this? I mean, I'm sure there have been some, but I mean, any big movements or no?
Positive?
Doesn't have
Yeah, like we were so hopeful back in March.
Garth already told
no.
us in his episode that your faith in individuals' responsibility and accountability was absolute shit now.
It's still like that. Yeah. I don't know, especially especially after the election and everything. I just I don't know. I'd like to think maybe, but I don't know. I just don't see it. I just think we're very primal creatures when it comes down to it. Aside from family and close friends, I mean, it was always explained to me, your nucleus, in the center is you and your family, then your friends, and then everything else is food, which you consume to support the family and the friends. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't see any more positivity in the world. I mean, even with the Christmas, I mean, everything was still so bleak. Even the commercials were just like, Jesus, you can't go see grandma, so you got to go see her in, Zoom. You have to wave to her, and she's still trying
that was sad.
and it's like you said, Santa's in a bubble. So I don't know. I mean, I think we were barely holding on to begin with when we could see each other and have that personal interaction. And now it's all through telephones and internet. So I don't know. I mean, I'd love to be wrong. I mean, somebody else have a more positive take than that. For sure.
I think my in-person interactions, generally speaking, have been more like gracious and compassionate, even though they're not like, I don't know, just like in the grocery store, people say like, have a good day, like, stay safe. Like there's something behind their eyes where I feel like they really mean it. Like there's just a little bit more of a level of concern for other people and maybe a little bit of graciousness, but I think but then anything that involves like the public, the mass of people, that's when it kind of feels like like what we were talking before about social media and stuff while I was in and out of having technical issues. People did get really nasty stuff, and just seeing how some people treat all the difficult parts about all this with like levity, like in a disrespectful sort of way. I think that's been disheartening, but in-person interactions have been pleasant for me, and sometimes like from the most random people. Like I had a conversation with a guy who's, a neighbor who's maybe 6 houses down. I see him all the time when I go for walks. I wave. I don't even know if he knew my name. I think I knew his name. I'm not really sure. His name is Bob, the same as my husband, so it's not hard to remember. It's like, but then all of a sudden I found us having a conversation, being like, what do you miss? What did you miss about Christmas? Was it okay? You guys doing okay? Checking in on each other when we hadn't even really talked before this. So I don't know. I feel like it's more acceptable to really ask people how they're doing and kind of mean it, as opposed to just stuff. But yeah, so I try to think about those and not the crazy stuff with public.
Well, it's a really great point, Allie. I hadn't even thought about that, but I've noticed the same thing. I don't know about the rest of you, where I mean, the few places, like I feel like the grocery store is pretty much the only place I go now.
Yeah.
And those few times where you do sort of interact with somebody, it's like you're both so happy to have that moment of, even if you're a few feet away, of just cracking a joke and them laughing or whatever it is. It's like there really is a positive side to that. And I wonder if, because the rest of the time we're consuming everything through screens, and we're getting it from the media or social media or whatever, we're not in groups. So we don't have that chance to have that in-person human connection. And this has just occurred to me, man, what I really hope is once we do start getting back in groups, I mean, we're going to eventually get back in groups, that will be, multiplied, and it'll be like a lot of love coming from that. I know that there have been lots of groups that have gotten together and it hasn't been all happy, over the past 9 months, but it's been a tumultuous year. We've talked about that a little bit, but maybe the best is yet to come. But that's a great point, Allie. I do think I've noticed that as well.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with human race's creativity right now. Just and not necessarily like, just doing things over Zoom, because obviously we have to do that. But the things that they are able to like accomplish, over in this situation, not being face to face, like, things that people are building and just getting done. It's that's like amazing to me. The ingenuity of people in trying circumstances is pretty awesome. If you're using your powers for good and not evil, I guess.
Yeah, like with what April organized for your neighborhood, with like the food trucks and Santa and everything, like that's awesome.
Yeah, you just like, there's a way to do it, and they did, and you talk about it, and it's, it's awesome. Like, I love seeing that kind of stuff. I love seeing the thinking outside the box. That makes me happy. Makes me have some faith.
Yeah.
Well, so what are your, I guess just to kind of wrap all of this up, maybe we can go around and just say what your predictions are for 2021. Like, obviously we're in 2021. So
is it going to be better? Is it going to be, now that the calendar? Yeah.
I think it's going to be better. Have you guys seen the Match.com commercials with 2020 and Satan? Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Genius.
And 2020 is like, I met 2021. I mean, she's like considerate and like, and then Satan's like boring, but I think it's gonna be better. And I'm like a combo like cynic, eternal optimist sort of person. So I want to believe really badly that it's gonna be better, and I think it will be, but I'm still kind of like holding my breath. And I think the thing people need to remember, and we should know now that it's even just a few days in, is, nothing got better just because the clock turned over to January 1st. And so we still have to be patient, which sucks, but we still have to be patient and vigilant to some extent and put up with all this, as things hopefully get better, and go along. I mean, I'm itching to get back out there. I want to play more shows. I want to go to more shows. Those are the things I'm looking forward to the most.
Oh my gosh. Well, Allie, I was going to ask you since you're talking, before we move on, how has it been? Like, I know back in March, you guys had to cancel a couple shows, including that one at Innsbruck that was like a charity. And I've seen on your social media on Instagram where it's like, you'll be promoting a show and then day of, you can't do it. I mean, what's that been like for you, and what's going on now?
That's been the hardest thing for me. I mean, I've been a musician for over 30 years. Like, it's in me. It's not what I do for my main, job or anything like that. But that's been really rough. I mean, music is like the main way I cope with life, and playing by myself is just not quite the same. So yeah, we had a jam-packed schedule for 2020. It was awesome. Festivals we were looking forward to and things like that, and then it just all got wiped out. So we played a couple of small gigs outside, actually not so small, but spread out, if nothing else, outside here and there. And we've been recording, which gives us something to do that doesn't involve. But yeah, that's been tough. I mean, that's normally where that's been tough. Yeah. It's been tough for a lot of artists of all kinds. Yeah.
Musicians, comics. I mean, people that are used to being out in front of a crowd.
Oh yeah,
It's rough.
It's been tough. So yeah, I'm really yearning for that. We have some stuff tentatively on the books throughout the year, but I'm like you said, we've had stuff where it's like all of a sudden, like somebody gets COVID, things shuts down, or stuff's weather dependent. That's the thing, is like a lot of stuff just in general, gatherings that do occur are weather dependent now. People don't want to be indoors. Obviously, it's not safe to be indoors.
That was a show I was coming to that
I
Friday and
know.
Saturday, and I was like,
got
bringing up
rained
friends. I was like, we're gonna celebrate this, and then it got rained out. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I felt so bad for. Yeah,
We were so mad.
it's brutal. It's brutal. Well, people can go to your website. Was it Weekender Music or?
Yeah, Weekender Music. WKNDR Weekender Music. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. We're not on Twitter because Twitter's angry. Very angry.
Yeah, Twitter's the worst of the social medias, I think. So. Okay, so wait,
anyway,
did you have a prediction for 2021?
Oh, sorry. So basically, I think it's going to get better. It's just going to take time. But if people are looking for everything to launch back to normal, I mean, I think I want to say by late summer, maybe we'll be looking at a lot more stuff. But I think it'll be better. I hope.
Yeah, that's very honest and.
Okay, right? It's going to be better, right? Somebody tell me it's going to be better.
I know. This plane is going to take off in 45 minutes, I swear. I know we've been saying that for 2 weeks. But.
April, what do you think?
So I do think it's definitely going to be better this year. 2021 has to be better. So it's interesting. So I've gotten the first vaccine and I'm going for the second one on Thursday. And so I think as you said, Allie, I think it's going to be the summer or even into the fall where we can kind of take a deep breath and say, oh, okay, we can actually kind of get back to normal. I think it'll just take time. And I just hope that people continue to, I think we talked about, I think us slowing down and really asking, how are you? And checking on people or checking on each other in this pandemic. And knowing that over 300,000 people have died and knowing people who've had COVID and everything else I think it's sort of kind of given us a wake up call. And I just hope that we continue to remember these times that in the anxiety and everything that we've had and the fear and that 2021 makes us better. I think we're better people. I think we've slowed down and really think about what's important, our families and friends and different things. And I think it will be better. It's just, we'll see how the vaccination situation goes as time goes on over the next few months. I think that really will tell us a lot and see what happens. But I shouldn't say it can only get better, but I'm hoping that it definitely will be a better year this year. And I think it will be for sure. I don't know if we'll ever get to feeling comfortable without a mask over the first 6 months. I think it's sort of now we know what to do and how to do it. And I think we're kind of, again, the habit of it all and the routine and what we're supposed to do. And I just hope that people continue to be mindful and thoughtful of others and just what does it say, together alone we'll stay, go through this together, and still do what we're supposed to do, and I just hope it gets better. I think it will be better, a better year.
Yeah. What you, Lauren?
I think it'll be 6 to 9 months of kind of the same while everyone gets the vaccine and see what happens, and I do think, same April, that I think masks will be a thing for a long time. Like, I think eventually, they'll stop being required at the grocery store or Target or something, but any sort of mass transit, airports, airplanes, any large gathering of people, I think that'll be very common for years.
I mean, that's what they do in Asia anyway. That's what they've been doing in Asia.
Exactly.
It's totally normal there, no matter what.
Yeah.
I just feel like if your kid has a cold or you have a cold and you have to go into CVS to get your medicine, just for 2 years from now, it won't be a crazy thing for you to wear a mask, so that I don't have to get the flu or maybe I don't have to get another cold. You know what I mean? I hope it normalizes masks a little bit more and that people, aren't afraid to wear them if they're sick.
For sure. I think it's very uncommon for us to see someone in 2019 and before that, and you would see a lot of our Asian Americans or Asian population wearing masks, but for us we would look at them like, what's going on, what's wrong, it's just not a norm, and now it's become a norm. So I agree with you. I think it will be just easily accepted that oh, they're wearing a mask, no big deal, keep it moving, and we wouldn't question or worry about anything, because now it has been normalized for sure, and I'm happy about that, and I'm glad for that now. Yeah.
Garth?
Oh boy.
About sunshine and rainbows.
I think the 6 to 9 month thing is probably right. I'd be probably more concerned about how the effects of everything else but the pandemic, but COVID, like our interactions with people, like how our kids are learning. I mean, my kids haven't had friends over, so I'm more concerned about how to deal with getting them back to where they need to be socially. Talking to people online and instead of talking to them on face, even disagreements, and that again going back to like the Facebook and all the hatred and the divisiveness. Instead of just snapping at people because they're just a name, with an avatar, and then actually having to confront people whose views are different, face to face, where you can see how that affects them, get a sense of the empathy and things like that. I think that's going to be a little bit more difficult for people to tie into, because then you're talking about the anti-vaxxers are like, am I getting this thing? And then that's going to raise up a whole new thing. So I don't know. Again, I think that science we can get past it with the science, but I think the social aspect, I still think we've got a long way to go. I think this really kind of has shown everybody, where people kind of stand on a larger scale. But I do hope that they continue to release these blockbuster movies directly to us instead of us having to go through, because I've watched Wonder Woman, Soul, on the third, the Cobra Kai. So keep bringing that.
Yeah, I was just watching that.
Oh, it's great. So there, I hope they don't change anything on that. I hope that continues to be a normal thing, because not going to the movie theaters anymore.
And spending ridiculous amount of money just to take your family. Yeah, it's nice not to have to do that.
Being able to talk when you want to.
I do miss theaters, but
pause it if you need to refill your drink or go to the bathroom. Oh,
right, exactly.
Yeah,
I know.
That's awesome.
You're like walking out. You're like trying to like watch it until you leave. Okay, I'm going. You can't fall.
Popcorn trick. You don't have to be on the looking out for someone to bust you. It's great. It's like
Yeah.
I once snuck an entire pizza into the movies.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That's amazing.
I am the mom who packs my bag full of like all the food, and I totally do. Oh yeah, my mom did it when I was a kid. I'm like, heck no. I have 3 boys who eat nonstop. I'm not buying food here.
If you're not sneaking food into the theater, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong.
Buy the popcorn though. But
well, that's true. Yes.
Sir, you don't want to drink with that? I'm like, no, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Just give me that fake butter.
Yeah.
That's worse. That's going to kill your liver, probably. That's what we're all going to do. We're all going to die from
right?
that stuff.
It's true.
What about you, Erin?
I make a really bold prediction that next year I'm going to be able to have my Christmas Eve open house freely. With as many people, all of the listeners. I'm inviting everyone. No,
I think
Santa
so.
and a hamster ball will be there.
Yeah.
I like it.
We're just going to all be able to breathe on each other, and it's going to be fantastic. And that's my prediction. So I'm going to stick into it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I like it. Do it.
And you, tell us, Scott.
My prediction is Aliens. I truly believe this is going to be the year that we're going to find out about, ET is out there. I think I do think 2020 was a year of like serious growing pains. Like you guys mentioned normalizing, I guess, masks when needed. I mean, that's, there are going to be a lot of things that, streaming blockbuster movies that just never go back, or that we just keep, so I think we're going to keep a lot of the stuff that's hopefully been innovative or healthy or good. And I guess my prediction is that we'll start to ease back into something that's normal, but also Aliens.
Scott, did you read that article that came out today about that?
Yep.
I read that too, and I was
Yep.
Wait, what happened?
The one about how in 2017 there was basically a UFO that the guy from Harvard astronomy professor or whatever said, that it's definitely a UFO. So maybe this guy's also lying. Who knows? But I think
wait a minute here. But UFO stands for unidentified flying object. So if you see something flying through the sky and you don't know what it is, technically that is a UFO.
Yeah, but the dimensions, that's true, but the dimensions had nothing to do with, they didn't look like any other sort of space debris that they've seen. I mean, it was it was putting off a bunch of light or something. There it is.
What
I'm something out of Battlestar Galactica.
Looks like I gotta read about this.
Oh, now I gotta go Google and end this podcast. That's crazy.
Okay,
and have you watched oh gosh, what's that documentary that just recently came out with Jacques Vallée? Now I gotta look it up because all of our listeners are gonna, our listener is gonna.
We really need to do show notes. We always say, we should put something in the show notes. We're too lazy to do show notes. Now
the phenomenon. The phenomenon. There's no John Travolta in it's the phenomenon. No, I mean seriously, not to get all. That's another podcast. We'll do. You know what we should do? We do need to address aliens.
My brother
is join a podcast about aliens. If you do an episode about aliens, I will be there.
Okay.
Scott, you should absolutely have my brother on the podcast first. Okay. He's fascinating to listen to, and he is like obsessed with aliens. So.
Well, give me his info, brother. He's full of
he's very logical and like methodical about everything, but then he's like totally about aliens. So
just remember, you heard it here on Panic at the Costco first. Aliens 2021. They released the footage from those what were they, F-16 or whatever.
And that's how bad 2020 was, is no one even cared. They're like, okay, well.
I know.
They're like, yeah, aliens, what else?
It was like, okay, cool. So anywho,
yeah. On that note.
Yeah. So well, I think we wrapped it up. Did everyone give their predictions? I think so. Thank you all so much for joining us. You're all repeat guests and you're awesome. And we're going to do this. Hopefully we're going to keep the panic going because, hey man, as long as people are panicking, we're there.
To answer the call.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your night.
Bye everyone.
Thanks. Bye guys.
Guys, it's nice to see you.
This was fun.
Good to see you too.
The following took place on a recent blustery Saturday afternoon at Hardywood Brewery. Erin and I decided to get a camera and talk to the people about their experiences in 2020 and predictions for 2021. Now, one thing I should have predicted is that I would not use the new camera correctly and we'd lose some footage, which I did. I'd like to take a moment to apologize to these awesome dudes who talked to us for 15 minutes and gave some really excellent answers. But the camera wasn't rolling, and that's my bad. Undeterred and with the sounds of Hootie and the Blowfish to give us strength, we pushed on into the tipsy throngs of masked people, enjoying a beer on a delightful afternoon out of the house, and we asked them questions about their drinking habits and much more.
Oh goodness, look at this guy.
Do you think that your drinking or drinking in general has increased in 2020, and by like how much? Like throw out a percentage.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what that says about me.
I don't think honestly my drinking's increased. My appreciation for boxed wine and buying like 4 bottles in one box for $17, that's increased. I appreciate them thinking of us in 2020.
I'd say it's increased at least some.
Mine has, just because I'm home a lot more and bored. I don't know by how much, maybe percentage-wise, maybe like 15 or 20%. Like not massively, but definitely more. Like the random, like Wednesday, Thursday night, just having a couple beers.
I would say it's
At a boredom.
for me, since I haven't seen people as much. I'm more of a social drinker.
Yeah, I would say too that I've probably spaced things out more as opposed to drink a lot at one time. So I'll have a glass of wine with dinner in the middle of the week, and I never did that prior to the pandemic. And weekends, like I don't feel like drinking 10 beers right now. I feel like just having one, and that way I can be functional and go home. So yeah.
If you normally drink on a Friday, Saturday, are you feeling like it's creeping into like Tuesday, Wednesday?
No doubt.
Oh, yeah, it used to be kind of weird to drink on a Tuesday, but now it's really not that. Like, I'll open a beer up on a Tuesday, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
You know what day it is
People open
anyway.
at like 8:30, 8 o'clock, well after dinner. Kids are asleep. But now it's like, okay, close computer at 3:30, 4 o'clock, I'm done. And people go make a drink.
That's awesome. All right, well, describe 2020, just like one word.
Shitty.
Joke. Crappy. Dumpster fire.
That's hyphenated.
Dumpster fire, right?
That's two ways.
You hyphenate it?
That's hard. Because, like, I will use, like, those words, like, a dumpster fire could suffice, but then also I think in a weird way, 2020 and COVID has made us kind of reappreciate a lot of aspects that we haven't been, like, paying attention to or, like, giving, like, appreciating as much. Like, it's kind of helped us re-solidify friendships. It's made you, like, just appreciate people more and social interaction more than we ever realized and we took for granted before 2020. But also it's been a complete dumpster fire.
Change, I guess. All right, what is your prediction for 2021?
I think it will be better. I hope it will be better.
It can't get worse. Like, people will be adapted to the not being normal. Like, we'll be used to having randomness, so kind of be more go with the flow.
I would say slowly progressing, and I'm going to be positive and say it's going to get better, whether it takes a year or 2022. I am hopeful that things are on the up from this point forward.
I'm going to say, can it get any worse? I don't know. I think there'll be like a lull at the beginning of 2020. And then I think at the end of 21, I think it's going to get a lot better. Hopefully by the summer. Yeah.
I think 2022 hopefully can be a really happy time.
2021 is just going to continue to be 2020, probably.
Yeah.
Until it just suddenly becomes 2022.
Yeah. Maybe 2021 doesn't exist. Like it's like an extension of 2020, and then if things get better, it's 2022 came early. You know. That's what I'm gonna say.
Hopefully by the summer we'll figure some things out and we'll go back closer to normal than we are now. But the start of the year is not going to be any different.
I'll say it won't be normal. Like, normal won't be in for years.
No.
We're not. Yeah.
We're getting worse as it is right now. It's getting worse.
If it ever goes back to normal.
Okay. Multiple choice. All right. Which of the following COVID-related conspiracy theories is the most plausible? A. China created the virus in order to increase their toilet paper market share in the U.S. B. Disney released the virus in coordination with their launch of streaming service Disney Plus. C. COVID is cured with cow urine. However, most humans refuse to try this, which is why it is not a feasible cure for the masses.
No way China can ship toilet paper to the U.S.
B. Disney. That's the most plausible. I wouldn't put anything past Disney.
I'm going to say B. B are overlords at Disney.
I mean, I have to go with A. I feel like I'm going to go with A. That's my final answer.
I was going to go with B.
Me too, Disney. I'm thinking of it. They just bought Nat Geo, so they just had to do a bunch of cuts. There's a lot that they didn't think about if that was their game plan economically.
I'd definitely go with A or B.
Or insert your own.
Disney had to close down all their parks, so that also killed them in terms of money. So But
I said Disney's been losing a lot of money off and not having movies as well.
So their Disney Plus isn't going to get them enough back to cover all that.
Nobody trusts Disney around here. It's very interesting. Like, nobody trusts Disney. All right, last question. What is your favorite 90s song that this guy has been playing this entire time?
They're too young.
Attention. Hey, we were all born in the 90s, early 90s. I haven't been paying enough attention to it.
I said Wonderwall. Did you play Wonderwall?
You can't touch this.
Did he play that?
No, I didn't.
All right, we're gonna go with Wonderwall as a group.
Ours was Hootie and the Blowfish, but I think that was pretty good. That Wonderwall's pretty good. All right, well, thank you guys so much.
Well, I think we learned a lot in these interviews. Drinking has increased, people don't trust Disney, and dumpster fire counts as one word in 2021. Now, enjoy this video of Erin running after the Hardywood Santa Claus. She never did catch him. Thanks for watching, and have a great 2021. What could go wrong? And this is Erin chasing after Santa Claus.
Speaksies.